This holiday season, actress Blythe Danner has yet another reason to celebrate. The Meet the Parents star and mother of Gwyneth Paltrow just revealed that she is in remission after a year-spanning battle with oral cancer. While she no doubt is counting her blessings, her sobering battle with cancer undoubtedly brought up some difficult memories, because back in 2002, her beloved husband Bruce Paltrow lost his battle to the very same disease. So join us as Facts First presents Blythe Danner almost suffered the same fate as her late husband. Against all odds. When Blythe Danner was first diagnosed with oral cancer in March of 2018, she says the first thing she did was look up towards heaven and ask Bruce if he was, quote, feeling lonely up there. While cancer is something that'll touch just about everyone's lives at some point, it's very unusual for a couple to have to face the same type of cancer. Danner, now 79, was born February 3, 1943. She grew up in Philadelphia, where her father, Harry Earl Danner, worked as a bank executive. Her brother Henry was an opera singer and actor, while her sister Dorothy Dottie Danner was a performer turned director. So clearly she was never a stranger to the entertainment industry. Danner attended a Quaker high school in Newtown, Pennsylvania called George School. After graduating, she enrolled at Bard College. She went on to star in off-Broadway productions such as the 1967 musical Matahari and 1968's Summer Tree. She quickly transitioned to performing on Broadway, appearing in productions such as Cyrano de Bergerac and The Miser. In 1970, she won a Tony for Best Featured Actress for her performance in the play Butterflies Are Free. In 1972, Danner portrayed Martha Jefferson in the film adaptation of 1776. That same year, she appeared in an episode of Columbo, playing the unknowing wife of a man who committed murder. Later that year, she enjoyed a starring role opposite Alan Alda in the film To Kill a Clown. After that, she appeared on screen alongside Alda once again in an episode of MASH called The More I See You. 1974 was a big year for Danner, as that was the year she appeared in the made-for-TV film F. Scott Fitzgerald and the Last of the Bells, as well as the major motion picture Love and Molly. In 1976, she appeared in Future World alongside her co-star Peter Fonda. She appeared in the 1982 TV film Inside the Third Reich. In 1986, she starred in the feature film adaptation of Neil Simon's semi-autobiographical play Brighton Beach Memoirs. For the next decade or so, Danner appeared in very few films or shows, and it seemed likely that her acting career was beginning to run its course. But in 2000, she was thrust back in the spotlight after appearing opposite Robert De Niro in the comedy Meet the Parents. She went on to reprise her role in the sequels Meet the Fockers and Little Fockers. Not only did Blythe's film career get resurrected, but so did her TV career. From 2001 to 2006, she was a series regular on the NBC sitcom Will and Grace, playing Will Truman's mother, Marilyn. From 2004 to 2006, she was one of the main cast members of the comedy-drama series Huff. To this day, Danner continues to make appearances both on the big and small screen. On TV, she's appeared in shows such as Madoff, Odd Mom Out, American Gods, and Ridley Jones. Film-wise, she showed up in movies like What They Had and The Tomorrow Man. Blythe's tumor was in the same spot as Bruce's. While working in London in 2018, Blythe suddenly started feeling very woozy. She also noticed she was having trouble with her memory. That's when she discovered a lump on her neck, right next to where her late husband Bruce had found his tumor in 1999. After going to the doctor to have the lump looked at, Danner was diagnosed with adenoid cystic carcinoma, a rare variant of oral cancer that usually develops in the sufferer's salivary glands. Blythe now admits she hid her diagnosis from her children for a long time. All she wanted to do was forge ahead. As a mother, the last thing she wanted to do was worry them. When she finally told her daughter Gwyneth later told reporters that when she learned of her mother's diagnosis, not only did she feel scared, but it felt especially eerie because of how similar it was to her father's cancer. But instead of letting her diagnosis hold her back, Danner immediately got to work fighting it. After 2 early surgeries and spending a couple of years exploring alternative treatments, Blythe underwent a 3rd surgery in 2020, facilitated by Dr. Mark Delacure. Fortunately, the surgeon was successful in removing the cancerous tissue, and since then, Blythe has been cancer-free. Speaking about her mother's experience, Gwyneth noticed that Blythe went through the ordeal with grace. She said she was amazed by how strong she was able to be in the face of adversity. While Blythe had to undergo both radiation and chemotherapy, she says that at no point in her cancer battle was she ever quaking in her boots or living with the fear of death. She says her unique views on mortality dramatically shifted after the death of her husband in 2002. The two had been happily married for 33 years and brought 2 children into the world together. Danner says she's never gotten over Bruce's death. According to her, he was the heart of her family, and since his death, life has been significantly less colorful. But despite the grief that she's had to contend with in the last 2 decades, she's never lost sight of what's most important. Danner knows that if Bruce was still around, he'd want her to keep fighting while focusing on what matters most, her family. These days, Blythe constantly surrounds herself with family. The grandmother of 4 says that nothing makes her happier than being around children. Not only has she been a devoted mother and grandmother, but Danner has also committed herself to advocacy work with the Oral Cancer Foundation. That organization strives to raise awareness for oral cancers, which an estimated 54,000 Americans are diagnosed with every year. According to the foundation's executive director, Brian Hill, the best way to combat the disease is by screening for early warning signs. A quick screening by a dental professional is not only inexpensive and painless, but it's also potentially life-saving. Regret led Gwyneth Paltrow to adopt a healthy lifestyle. Gwyneth is probably more recognized these days for her healthy approach to living than she is for her film roles. While she's become a fierce advocate for healthy, holistic living in recent years, she hasn't always been such a beacon for wellness. Her passion for health and fitness has come from a place of immense sadness. When her father, Bruce, was diagnosed with oral cancer in 1999, she had to spend the next couple of years watching the man who raised her get torn apart by the disease. Paltrow saw his treatment as particularly brutal. Throughout his cancer battle, she began thinking out of desperation that there had to be something that she and her family could do to help him. That's when she started researching food and nutrition. Bruce passed away in 2002 after suffering a heart attack spurred on by complications of his cancer. Touching on his death in 2005, Paltrow expressed regret that she hadn't done enough to clean up her father's diet to help get rid of his cancer. She went as far as saying she felt at least partly responsible for his tragic death. To cope with these feelings of guilt, Paltrow has since made it her mission to spread a message of health and wellness. The Goop founder is now confident she's on the right path. That being said, she's come under fire in recent years for advocating treatments, remedies, diets, and beliefs that many deem to be pseudoscientific. For example, at one point, she went on an 8-day goat milk cleanse in an attempt to rid her body of heavy metals and parasites. On another occasion, she used her platform to preach about the supposed wonders of bee sting facials. Paltrow has also encouraged her followers to insert egg-shaped stones into their intimate nether regions, and has perpetuated the debunked theories of Masaru Emoto, a Japanese pseudoscientist who believed that human consciousness could somehow affect the molecular structure of water. Regardless of how out there her theories are, you have to applaud her for taking her health and the health of others so seriously. It must have been devastating to lose her father in the tragic way she did, and when her mother was diagnosed with oral cancer, it must have felt a lot like deja vu. Now it's time to hear from you. Did you know Blythe Danner was diagnosed with the same rare form of oral cancer as her late husband Bruce? Let us know in the comments section below.